In this episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief, I sit down with Ethan to talk all about Awoken, Worlds Apart. Then we'll see what's on Kickstarter, but first, a message about our sponsors. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly powered by both Phase Shift Games and Thundergriff Games, who are bringing us a new game on Kickstarter called Dungeon Drop. More to be said during Kickstarter Corner, so stay tuned for that. But make sure to check out and back Dungeon Drop on Kickstarter before the 3rd of July. This episode is proudly powered by one of our Kickstarter backers, Redwell Games, and their latest game, Six Gun Showdown. The fastest playing, tension-filled game of Wild West shootouts for ages 9 years and older. That's on Kickstarter until Friday the 5th of July. More to come within our Kickstarter Corner portion of the show.
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Ripped from Earth and dropped into this unforgiving world, players must traverse the landscape and discover a way home. Each player chooses one of 10 classes, learning unique abilities and gaining special powers throughout the class's dedicated factions. Players work together using their newfound powers to journey on epic quests, unearthing evil plots, defeating terrifying creatures, and bringing either peace or destruction to this world.
Did that sound familiar to you guys? It didn't to me either, but this is the story of Awoken, Worlds Apart, and today we're lucky enough to have on the creator and mastermind behind this game. Is that right, Ethan? Is that how you fall in line with Awoken, Worlds Apart?
Yep, that's me. Been working on this game for, I'd say, 4 or 5 years now. Been a slow crawl at the beginning, but the last couple of years has been like a big push, trying to finalize it and get it out there. But yeah, it's all 100% me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate it, Ethan.
Yeah, no, it's great to be here.
Awesome. Now, before we jump into your game, let's rewind a little bit if we could. How did you get into playing tabletop board games and role-playing games? And is it just role-playing games, or do you play board games too?
I know, big fan of just classic board games. I think, my family has always been into those normal mainstream board games. So I grew up with all of them, very much detoured from them, went a lot more into video games during my teenage years. But as I've, last couple of years, 19, 20, 21, I've gotten into more of those newer wave board games because there's just so many new games out there and so many new mechanics, all these fantastic new inventions. One of my favorites at the moment to play with family is probably Game of Thrones Risk. We play that once or twice every month. That's a lot of fun. But yeah, getting into role-playing games themselves, I think very much a gateway to that would have been both reading and video games. They just take you away to other worlds. You get to experience the lives of other people. It's just absolutely fascinating. And then about 3 or 4 years ago, I started playing Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, and that was a ton of fun. Started playing that with, I think, 5 friends. We were really into it. I started doing some homebrew campaigns that just grew and grew and grew, and then I added some mechanics in, and it all just got stirred into this big pot and started to take the form of Awoken. I originally thought to myself, maybe I'll sell this campaign on to someone, try and get it out there somehow. But then a friend of mine just said to me one day, he's like, why don't you just make your own game? And I thought, you know what? I have nothing better to do with my time. I finished uni. Why not? And that's sort of the big push that got me into actually deciding that this could be a game that could be on the market that people could really enjoy.
Well, there you go. I'm excited to talk about it. But first, you brought up one of my games, or favorite games that I like to play with my kids. But it is a game, The Risk. Have you played the original? I know you talked of Game of Thrones. Do you play the original Risk at all as well?
No, not the original.
Oh boy, just any other ones or just Game of Thrones one?
Just Game of Thrones. We love the series, and yeah, we saw it about 2 or so years ago, I think. Saw it on the shelf, and girlfriend and I just looked at each other and we're like, well, we got to have it. And yeah, we play it once or twice every month. It's good fun with the whole family. You know, it takes a while, but it's always good fun.
Awesome. And do you have a certain strategy you like to use? Or I don't know if you want to divulge that on the air. They might be listening.
um, to not aggravate my girlfriend, I think that's the best strategy I have, because she comes down with force. But my dad, his idea of good strategy is just to fight everyone on every side, which doesn't usually work out, but it works out well for us.
Oh boy. So I guess if anybody's listening and they ever play your dad, they'll know how to beat him, I guess.
Yes, just wait for him to self destruct.
Well, there you go. Awesome. Yeah, we play the regular Risk. I've never played the different theme ones. I want to one of these days, especially the Legacy Risk. Have you heard of that one over there?
Yes. Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued about that. But another one that looks like a lot of fun is Awoken, Worlds Apart. You started talking about it a little bit, but what can you tell us about your game?
So, Awoken, it definitely has its roots in classic role playing games like D&D and Pathfinder. Those are, the grandparents of the genre. They're the big hitters. But what Awoken does is it takes what they do, it changes a lot of it, keeps the basics of rolling d20s, to make actions, adding modifiers, that base type of mechanic. But we've added in a whole lot for, I guess, a more modern genre, with like the audience that there is out there nowadays. So we're adding in a whole ton of stuff to allow a lot of personal customization. So there's a lot more into the way of how you want to play. There's no set proficiencies for classes. There's no like anyone can take up magic. Anyone can take up any type of weapon type. You can put your skills wherever you want. There's no forcing you down a particular path. You can take your character however you want. If you want to be a sneaky barbarian, that's totally fine. You can do that. As long as you put your points in the right place, you're totally free to play it how you want. That's one of the things we really want to push with this game, the complete freedom. Also, we want to take storylines and go a lot deeper with them, so that players feel like they are more part of this world. They're not just, I guess, murder hobos running around the place, doing odd jobs for people getting paid. You are integral players in this world. You have a big effect on this world, and your actions throughout the entire campaign will change, like the outcome of quests down the line and the outcome of the major story arcs, as there are multiple endings and multiple kind of paths that you can take depending on what you do.
Awesome. And it looks like it's not necessarily just a set of rules like most role playing games. It looks like you got boards and cards and all kinds of goodies in there.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a love child between classic role playing games, just like read and writes, and board games. So we've added in one of the mechanics we've added in is inventories. So instead of just having to, weight management, do math, this weighs this much, this weighs this much, I can only carry a combined total of this, you have physical inventories. So there's gridded boxes that you can fill up with different sized cards. So you have those small mini cards for those smaller items, poker cards for those medium items, and tarot cards for the large items like bows and great swords. So you kind of Tetris them in to your inventory. If you can hold it, great, you can take it. If you can't, then you're just not able to hold it. As you're going along, you can purchase backpacks and belts to kind of jigsaw onto your inventories to give yourself more space. But that's one of the things we really want to push. There's a lot more, I guess, visual and physicality to our role playing game. Um, so yeah, we have in the base game there will be 82 unique items, all with different artwork from some of our talented international artists. And yeah, each item, unique artwork. You can collect them as you go, and you are able to upgrade them. So there are different levels of material, and the higher you go, the better the defense or the better the damage.
Awesome. I really like that whole play mat or whatever you have going on with the different puzzle pieces that you put your items on. That sounds like really that's intriguing to me.
Yeah, it's when we tell people about it, they get the feeling of Diablo from it, the video game that had a similar mechanic to it. Um, Also, like The Witcher with just grids. If you can fit it, you can carry it. If you can't, unable to. Yeah, we just wanted to give players a more physical connection to their character rather than just describing or thinking in their head. You can actually see what your character has on them in front of you.
No, that's really cool. So you don't just write it down on your character sheet and then have to look back and refer to that. You actually have the actual components right there. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and so on those cards, they've also got all the information like damage and value, a little description of what it is for bows. I mean, you have range on it, so it does tell you all the information you need for that weapon.
Okay, yeah, that's really cool. I like that. And then, do you have other cards in it, or is it just the weapons and items that come as cards?
Yeah, so they're the only they're the major cards at the moment. We're wanting to push righteousness cards if we can get our full funding. So righteousness cards will come in as a stretch goal, hopefully. Otherwise, they will just be like a large table of all the modifiers and the items that come with those. So righteousness cards are the replacement to alignments within D&D or Pathfinder. You don't have alignments in Awoken. It's just how you think your character would react in the situation. So you may be having a good day and you decide, I'm just going to knock everyone out. Or you may be having a terrible day and you decide to slaughter a village. You gain righteousness points, either righteous or unrighteous points. At the end of each month, it's tallied up, and depending on which way you're leaning to, you get one of those cards, or look up in the table and you choose one of those. There's special events, there are new characters that you get to meet, certain cards that you can acquire through those actions, and they're not these don't push you to play it as a goodie or play it like a baddie. They're completely unbiased. It's just up to you how you want to play it. You'll get good cards and bad cards in both decks.
Okay, that's really cool. And I'm looking here at the different, scrolling through your page. They have rules booklet as well as 5 minute rules. Does that mean I could start playing Awoken in like 5 minutes after opening the book?
Yeah, yeah. So it is very simple to get into it. Like the basics of rolling dice, adding modifiers, and then combat. Combat gives you a list of actions. There's kind of an action economy in the game. So you have a certain amount of actions you can make, and each different action costs a certain amount. So if you can do those actions within your action count, then that's great. You do them. And yeah, with the 5 minute rules, you can read that and you can start playing straight away. You can use the other rule book, the much larger one, if you want to really delve into the actions and all the rules and see how they work. But the 5 minute rule book is an easy way to just jump into it and quickly get into a game. You don't have to spend hours finding out videos or reading rule books. You can easily just read this and get into it.
That sounds like my kind of thing because as my audience probably knows, I go ahead and have a lot of anxiety in playing games. Like I'll go try to read the rule book, I'll watch a video, I'll set up the game, I'll go back and watch a video, and then a couple weeks later, my wife's like, "You need to either play this game or put it away," and it ends up back in the box.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. We wanted people to be able to get into this game, not to feel daunting. like some people were found, if like one in the couple, maybe into D&D, they really enjoy it, they play it all the time, but the other person is like, oh, I've never found it interesting, it seems really confusing. We didn't want that. We wanted people to be able to jump into it straight away, not having played D&D or not playing Pathfinder before, to be able to just jump into it, have some fun, and learn the nuances as you're going through the game and as you're playing it more.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool to get past that barrier. Now, another barrier that you might have to get past, unfortunately, is because this game looks like a role playing game as well as a board game in a sense, is the funding goal as this being your first project. What are you doing to combat the 51,000? Because unfortunately, a lot of people here on the Kickstarter community, if they see it go over a certain amount, they think there's no way to reach it necessarily, and so they kind of shy away from projects. What are some of the things you're doing to combat that, Ethan?
So we do have a marketing strategy in place, which is starting up. So we wanted the first week to just sort of be natural to see how people react to it. We have had a fair amount of support from um, people that we know just in life that have gone and supported it. Not too many from the Kickstarter community, which is a shame, but we have had a few, and we do have quite a few that are watching the project and seeing what it can do to see if they want to back it. Um, but we are doing a convention this weekend, so Supernova in Australia, down in Sydney, which gets 45,000 plus people coming every year. We'll be down there this weekend, showing off the game, trying to get some pledges. We're also wanting to get more into the community, get people involved. One of the things with our 1 week update, which we will actually be releasing in the next few hours, is the explanation that you don't just have to play our campaign. Like our first campaign, Worlds Apart, will last for 170 plus hours. So you can play that if you want to, but you can make your own stories. Awoken is the game engine, I guess you could call it. So people can make their own stories, and we're wanting to start up possibly a Facebook group to get people involved. Send us like stories that they might want to see, stories that they may have written, and towards the end of the campaign, we do have a few like players that play with us all the time, and we might be doing a couple of those campaigns, some of those little stories with our players to show off that you can make your own stories. That this engine does like attach itself well to campaigns that may already be written, or that you might be starting to write yourself some homebrew stories.
Awesome. Well, you've got me sold on Awoken Worlds Apart, and hopefully other people will be able to come on and catch it and see what it's all about. Word on the street is you're doing a giveaway with us over at thegiveawaygeek.com. What exactly are you guys giving away, Ethan?
So we're giving away one of our core boxes. So this is the base pledge of the game, and what you get with that, you get everything that's included in the game. It's quite a large box as well. It has all the components. You're going to get all the maps that come with the game. So instead of having just a story booklet that has some of the maps in it, you actually will get A3 printed maps that are the correct sizing that the tokens go onto. Thankfully, our tokens and our battle maps are actually scaled well with D&D little miniatures. So if you have those already, you can use those with our game. So yeah, in the box, you get all of the maps, you get all of the inventories, you get 400 plus cards, you get 16 tokens, and you get all of the campaign booklets, all four, which adds up to over 170 plus hours of gameplay.
Plus the 5-minute rolls that I really like.
Yes, yep, they'll be in there, as well as the long ones that everyone can really delve into it if you want to.
There you go, and awesome. And also that little, I don't know exactly what you called it, but the little map puzzle that you can put your items on or whatnot.
Yes, so this is a guild board. So players actually get to create a guild as they're going through, and it's a modular board where you get to add in new caravans, so like enchanter caravans or smithies, things like that as you're going along. You got to change it up and completely customize your own guild.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for it. So yeah, so we'll go ahead and leave links in the show notes so they can go on and check out the giveaway while they're listening, or they can head over to the giveawaygeek.com so they can enter that way as well. Now, when it comes to Awaken Worlds Apart, what makes your game pop is one my audience should go check out, and if they like what they see, back it today, Ethan.
What makes it stand out? I think a lot of our mechanics, the way that we really take on the fantasy role playing genre for a modern audience. We've taken, what works. We've gotten rid of some stuff that we never felt that we liked, and we've really reinvigorated it for a modern audience. And players that are new to the genre can get into the role playing very easily. But seasoned veterans of role playing games, they can find a lot of challenges in here that they can really dig their teeth into and really get into.
Awesome, and I've already told them several times what I like those 5 minute rules and the guild boards that you have where you can put your components. So yeah, it just looks like a really cool game. Been scrolling through the campaign page and whatnot. Hopefully, you get a lot of backers coming on from what con did you say you're at this weekend?
Supernova. So it's a large convention in Australia where you get lots of stars. It's like Comic Con, I guess.
Awesome. We have a few fans that listen from Australia. So, per se, they're listening. How can they find you? Or if somebody decides to suddenly buy a ticket and fly over there, I don't know, and they decide to come look for you, how can they find you at the con?
Okay, so we're actually really, really close to where the star signing is. So where the stars will be, and you can go up and get signatures. We're really close to that. We're at stall 1121, and that's not even one kind of row in from the star signing. So we're right there. So if you can find that area, you'll easily find us there. We'll be doing little playthroughs. We have some giveaways. So if you actually back the game, you'll get a specialty item that you can only get at a Supernova event. It's called a Nova Bow, and it does special damage, and it's a very rare card that you can't get anywhere else.
Well, there you go. Awesome. So that's cool. Now, somebody's not able to make it over there, or the con's over or whatnot, so they don't have to come to your hometown to stalk you, Ethan. How can people go about keeping up with you and everything you're doing over there at Last Whole Game?
So yeah, we're on Facebook and Instagram. Just look up Last Whole Games on either of those. We're posting regularly to keep everyone up to date with what we're doing. Even if we don't fund, we will still be going hard on all those social medias, getting the information out there. We want to be as transparent as possible, letting everyone know what we're doing with our time, how we're adding to the game, everything like that. We also have a website, www.lastwholegames.com. If you go on there, you can find out all about us. It has a big breakdown of Awoken itself, and you can see a lot of our artwork that might not be on the Kickstarter page.
Okay, awesome. And if you give me those links, I'll make sure I leave them in the show notes. Now, somebody's listening later down on the road. I know right now we're focused on getting Awaken funded and everything, but somebody's listening later down on the road. Do you have any secrets of games that you might be working on for upcoming, like somebody listening later down on the road?
So this game, we want this to be kind of our central game. The way the campaign works, you're on the continent of Satal. Now, this continent is the large continent in the center of the planet, but there may be more hidden in the fog surrounding it. We want to push future campaigns into these other continents, bringing new races, new classes, lots of additional stuff in. But we also have some ideas for actual board games that we can make that may have to do with the same world, but very different styles. Not exactly role-playing games, more towards the board game genre.
Okay, but first we've got to get Awoken Worlds Apart funded on Kickstarter. So if you're listening right now and you like what you've heard, definitely go ahead and check out Awoken Worlds Apart, their Kickstarter campaign. Just click on the link in the show notes so you can be taken over there. Plus, check out our giveaway. Might as well enter, see if you can win, and You get extra points just by visiting the Kickstarter page, so do that. And if you like what you see, make sure you're back at Woken Worlds Apart before Thursday, the 11th of July. Now, we don't want to keep you all day, Ethan, but we really appreciate you coming on, getting geeky with Gamer League with us to talk all about Awoken Worlds Apart. We really appreciate it, Ethan.
Thank you very much for having us. It's been a lot of fun.
No problem. Well, that was great sitting down with Ethan. Now I'm even more excited to try Awoken Worlds Apart than I was before. If you feel the same way, make sure you go check out their Kickstarter and back it today so we can make this game a reality. Now, let's go ahead and go with Batterina Leaf, shall we? Where are we going, Batterina Leaf? Where are we going, Batterina Leaf?
Kickstarter corner!
He stood squinting in the noonday sun, the braggart youth in front of him with something to prove. Hey, old timer, how long has your pine box queen measured up for? Came the shrill voice from down the road, the ineffective taunt barely covering the shake in the kid's voice. Longer than you've been breathing, child, came his gruff reply. Jones noticed the kid twitch and reached for his rusty shooting iron. Did that sound familiar to you? Don't worry, we're here so it will. It's part of the story of Six Gun Showdown. Six Gun Showdown is a quick 5 to 10 minute game where players are characters in a Wild West shootout. The game combines strategy, memory, and a dexterity element, like a quick draw that serves to generate tension and guides the players to read their opponent's actions, really immersing them into the feeling of being in a shootout. Designed as a small box game that is as quick to learn as it is to play, Six Gun Showdown can be enjoyed as part of a board game night, either as a quick game between other games or run as a small tournament of linked games. Players can choose one of 6 characters that each have their own deck of cards and unique dice that require different strategies to be successful. This gives Six Gun Showdown layers of tactical depth that will have you playing the game again and again. Go back the quick draw card game for those with nerves of steel, Six Gun Showdown, before Friday the 5th of July, and make sure you're subscribed to Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf so you don't miss my sit down with the mastermind of this game when we have our showdown episode. I'm a huge fan of Scooby-Doo, so this game greatly reminds me of such. As you might know, escape rooms are all the rage, but someone is taking it to the next level. During a quiet stroll through the park one peaceful evening, you're attacked from behind and knocked unconscious. You wake up blindfolded. You remove the strip of cloth from your eyes and find yourself in the middle of a forest. Directly in front of you, under the moonlight, stands a weathered, hand-painted wooden sign that reads, Camp Hackaway. Next to you is a flashlight with a note attached. Welcome to Body Count. Terror at Camp Hackaway board game, which is a horror-themed board game for 2 to 4 players. Try to be the first to escape Camp Hackaway. It includes a Kickstarter exclusive expansion pack. Body Count Terror at Camp Hackaway is the first chapter in the Body Count series of horror-themed board games from Game Master J. In this chapter, you've been kidnapped and wake up in the outskirts of Camp Hackaway and must survive the night while searching for the one item that will allow you to escape. Meanwhile, crazed serial killer Hackin' Hank stalks the campground, eliminating players one by one. Will you survive? Find out by backing Body Count Terror at Camp Hackaway board game before Thursday, the 4th of July. Have you been preparing for the zombie apocalypse? You might be just about ready for it, but are you ready for the final minutes of said apocalypse? I didn't think so. Then you're going to need this new game, Final Minutes, the Zombie Apocalypse, which is a board game that puts your survival instincts to the test. If you like gaming and you like a challenge where skill and chance are both involved, then you will like this game. If you are also one of those select few who doesn't want to be eaten by the zombies, then Final Minutes, the Zombie Apocalypse, is definitely for you. Don't be like those people in the Midwest when a storm is scheduled to come to town that are scouring the grocery store for everything they need to get through the storm, because when the zombies come, The weather guy isn't going to be forecasting such things, so head on over to Kickstarter and back Final Minutes the Zombie Apocalypse today, because I really don't want them to eat your brains.
If I were a zombie, I'd never eat your brain. I just want your heart, yeah, I don't want your heart, I just want your heart, yeah. Oh, if I were a zombie, I'd never eat your brain. I just want your heart, yeah, I don't want your heart, I just want your heart, 'cause I want you.
Or I guess in that instance, we could save your heart. Either way, don't miss out and back Final Minutes the Zombie Apocalypse today. I'm going to have John the creator on the show, so make sure you tune in or come back and listen to my Final Minutes episode to save your brain or heart, as Stephanie Maybe so eloquently puts it in that rendition of the zombie song. The Qualic Report. Time is running out. The constant centuries of war and pollution have taken their toll on our home of Anthobre. Your people are counting on you to save them. Gather the resources you need, build your ship, and escape before it's too late. Only one civilization will survive, and the clock is ticking. Did that sound familiar, you guys? It didn't to me either, but this is a story of last days of Anthobre Apocalypse. It's a strategy resource gathering game where the planet falls to pieces beneath your feet, and the first to build a ship and escape wins. Had some tech issues with them, in which we're working to resolve, so you can enjoy my interview with the creators. It takes what we love from No Escape the game and adds some more depth to it, in my opinion. Last Days of Anthobre brings together a myriad of familiar mechanics that collate into an exciting and unique gaming experience. With a modular board and 5 different civilizations to pick from, no game is ever the same. The game starts with a slow burn to help prepare your civilization for the perils ahead. Throughout the game, tiles are flipped and removed as Anthobre literally crumbles beneath your feet. Every 5 rounds, the danger increases as the world falls apart faster and faster, and the odds of tragedy befalling your scouts grows ever more likely. For 2 to 5 players ages 12 and up, 30 to 45 minutes per player. Be on the lookout over at thegiveawaygeek.com, as well as these show notes once it's up, for a giveaway they're running with us, and back the game. Last Days of Anthobre Apocalypse before the 29th of June, so you can be the first one off the planet of Anthobre once the apocalypse is going on. Have you seen Sprocket, the game that just launched to Kickstarter? It looks awesome. You each get a card from a different level and build the object it asks you to. The first one who builds it in complete form and dings the bell proceeds to the next round or next level, and they'll get a harder card. It reminds me of Ubongo that we played in game group, except the pieces are 3D, and play gets harder the further you proceed. Their Kickstarter video shows and tells you exactly how to play. It looks pretty fun. Plus, we're teaming up with them to do a giveaway over on thegiveawaygeek.com. Plus, we'll be doing an interview with them as well. So, in the meantime, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss that show. And also, in the meantime, go watch our video and check out the game and back Sprocket, the game, before Tuesday the 9th of July. From proud backers of our Kickstarter campaign, Casual Game Revolution, the Casual Game Insider magazine will be returning to Kickstarter for its 8th year on June 25th. For only 2 weeks, you can get great deals on annual and lifetime subscriptions, back issues, and advertising. They will also be announcing a new feature that you won't want to miss. Casual Game Insider has been receiving high praise from gaming media since the first issue in 2012. It has been called the best board gaming magazine on the market by several reviewers, a magazine that is serious about quality, by Purple Pawn, and a great resource and fun read by the Spiel podcast. Bezier Games has praised its super accessible format that's both welcoming and engaging. And Ultra Pro says, The paper quality and production quality are just flat out better than most publications in tabletop. Find out what all the hype is about at casualgamerevolution.com/Kickstarter. We teased about this during our sponsor spots, so here you go. Both Thundergriff Games and Phase Shift Games are running a very successful Kickstarter campaign for the new game Dungeon Drop. Dungeon Drop is an instant dungeon, infinite possibilities, a delightful dungeon crawler for 2 to 4 players. Gather your gear and prepare to dive into the labyrinth. Teeming with untold treasure, the tunnels are said to be inhabited by unusual creatures, both adorable and terrible. Keep your wits about you as the very walls shift into the torchlight. It's time to drop into the dungeon. It's the dungeon crawl that you won't need an actual board for your game. Go check out Dungeon Drop's Kickstarter now. Hopefully, we'll get Jason on the show to talk all about it. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our Dungeon Drop episode. And either way, make sure to check out Dungeon Drop and back it before the 3rd of July. If you liked any of the games we talked about in today's episode, make sure you check out their Kickstarter campaigns to show them and us a little love. Backing them goes a long way. Plus, make sure to stay up to date on all the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. There will be at least 2 to 3 new giveaways going live over there next week. It's our least favorite time as well as yours. So until next episode, make sure you go ahead and get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others in the geek fold by sharing our episodes with others, as well as keeping up with the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. Gamer Leaf out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.